Tonight, angry hayfield mill workers take their fight straight to Parliament. 2 Shepparton men robbed in a terrifying home invasion. Headstones at a historic Albury cemetery desecrated by vandals. A propeller missing from a Rex flight from Albury found metres from homes. The prize bull leading the charge as breeders look further afield. And the Beechworth prison guard who's muscled out the competition.
This is 9 News Border Northeast with Joe Hall.
Good evening. Logging trucks and hundreds of people have descended on State Parliament, angry over the impending closure of the Hayfield timber mill. Workers have told Neary Tyre it will have a catastrophic effect on their small Gippsland town.
Hundreds of Hayfield workers rallying in the heart of the city.
An elderly Shepparton man and his neighbour have been robbed in the middle of a night by a drug-affected intruder. While one cowered in his bedroom, the other victim woke to find a television missing. Lana Murphy has more.
While most of Shepparton was sleeping, these men had the fright of their lives. A stranger walked into their homes at 3 a.m. looking to swipe whatever he could.
He shouted at me, he bashed me, then he grabbed my wallet.
Authorities are outraged after vandals caused tens of thousands of dollars worth of damage to headstones at a historic cemetery in Albury. It's not the first attack on the site, and the council says it's now looking to increase its security. Ashley Kunowski reports.
Some of the site's oldest headstones reduced to crushed stone and rubble. Historians say the attack on the Pioneer Cemetery shows a lack of respect.
The cemetery is a kind of celebration of the people who made Albury what it is today. And some families are still in the area.
Are you angry?
I'm pretty off, to be honest. Not happy at all.
Cattle breeders from all over the country have been locked in bidding wars at the annual bull auction at Witherswood Farm near Glenrowan. As cattle prices soar, breeders say they're looking to expand their business as far as Central Asia. Caitlin Knight has more.
Meet Kingdom K. He's the $150,000 bull drawing breeders out to a massive cattle auction in Glenrowan.
They're looking for bulls that have got strength, phenotype, breeding background, bulls that'll take their female herd ahead.
Give Me 5 for Kids has handed over a cheque to Albury Wodonga Hospital for nearly $50,000 for new surgical equipment. The cash from last year's cheque has already been spent on these distraction goggles for MRI scans.
You know, the distraction goggles, for any child, it's a long procedure and it's quite a noisy, intimidating procedure, so I think it's fantastic that they can watch their own program and make it an easy way to get through.
The MRI goggles are now available in Albury's radiology unit. Now let's take a look at the average low price of fuel in Shepparton tonight. A propeller that fell from a regional express aircraft en route to Sydney from Albury has been found. The 100-kilogram object was discovered in rugged bushland just metres away from homes. Damien Ryan reports.
Breakdown.
This is the moment an eagle-eyed cop makes what was an incredible breakthrough.
Just in there, that's it, mate. You got it. Yep. Go in there, go in on that.
Let's go to breaking news now. 2 toddlers and 2 adults have been taken to hospital after a serious crash in Bendigo. Lucy Hinton joins us live. Lucy, what happened?
Well, Joe, yes, there's been a shocking scene here in Maiden Gully this afternoon. So a car travelling from the Morong direction to the Bendigo CBD has careered off the road and smashed into a tree. Now, inside that car, there was a male driver, an 18-year-old passenger, and a 3-year-old and a 4-year-old in the back seat. And we would hate for another accident like this to happen again, Joe, and back to you.
Thanks, Lucy. Major embarrassment for Collingwood on the eve of the AFL season, with youngster Jordan De Goey suspended and fined after lying to the club over a bar fight in St Kilda. Already under immense pressure, it's left coach Nathan Buckley deeply embarrassed. Ed Woolley reports.
With his hand heavily bandaged, Jordan De Goey came clean.
There's 2 things I'm disappointed in. One being my actions, and the other was making up an excuse as to what really happened to me.
When 9 Local News returns, a man locked away after killing a teenager in a drug-fuelled crash. Jeff Kennett passes the Beyond Blue baton to Julia Gillard. And the state-of-the-art weapon helping police save lives. A man has been sentenced to more than 9 years jail for a drug-fuelled hit-and-run crash that killed a teenager and seriously injured another. The victims' families were horrified to discover that Stephen Vasilevsky had been arrested the night before the incident after narrowly missing 2 other young pedestrians. In breaking news, former IRA commander turned politician Martin McGuinness has died aged 66. He played a key role in the Northern Ireland peace process, even meeting the Queen when she visited in 2012. He was at the heart of the Irish Republican Army during Bloody Sunday. McGuinness resigned as Ulster's Deputy First Minister in January after being diagnosed with a rare heart disease. Now with a look at the wild weather across Victoria, here's Sonia Marinelli.
Thanks, Joe, and good evening. Well, in just 24 hours, we had a month's worth of rain in many areas, as well as isolated thunderstorms. The downpour was the heaviest in the morning and then again in the afternoon. Taking a look around the state, you can see the rain was widespread. Most of the intense falls, though, were in the southwest of the state this morning, with up to 50 millimetres in rainfall. It was also very heavy all day in the northeast. Elsewhere, there was patchy rain through central Victoria and in the northwest, but mainly in the afternoon. Conditions will ease in some areas overnight, but there is still a severe weather warning in place for more heavy rainfall, mainly in central and northeast Victoria. But I'll have all of those details a little later. Joe.
Nathan Currie joins me now with sport.
Thanks, Joe. After the break, a new deal for Geelong coach Chris Scott. Also ahead, the Leongatha boys take centre stage at the MCG. A Blues young gun sets a lofty new goal. And a massive payday for our cricketers, but again, the boys win big. Captains Dyson Heppell and Jared Roughead concede Saturday night's showdown between Essendon and Hawthorn will be the great unknown. While neither team is familiar, it's a different story for the two skippers. Ayrton Woolley explains.
An empty MCG today, but when Dyson Heppell and Jared Roughead lead their respective teams out on Saturday night, the place will be bulging.
Brad Jones racing star Tim Slade has taken responsibility for his Clipsal crash with teammate Nick Percat in the opening round of the V8 Supercars season. But the team boss doesn't mind a bit of a healthy competition between his drivers, Chris Mitchell reports.
It was a teammate. No. It's been a rocky start to this partnership at Brad Jones Racing, but Tim Slade says it's all water under the bridge and there's no hard feelings after his crash with teammate Nick Percat at the Clipsal 500 in Adelaide.
A Beechworth prison guard has just been declared the strongest man in Australia. Young father Ran Deuce took out his category at the Arnold Classic. Ashley Kanowski has more.
Ran Deuce has the weight of the world on his shoulders, taking out his Strongman event in Melbourne. He's now off to the world titles for a second time.
And Joe, that's all in sport.
Thanks for that, Nathan. Coming up in 9 Local News, Sonia Marinelli with all the weather details.
Good evening. It was wet and stormy in the northeast, bucketing down in Albury-Wodonga right throughout the day. Of all days, though, today the rain gauge in town was out of action, but up to 30 millimetres was recorded in nearby areas. 20 degrees was the overnight low, reaching a muggy 25 in the afternoon. In Shepparton, the rain fell mostly overnight. By morning, it had cleared to just a light drizzle. Overcast through the day with a humid top of 26. In Melbourne, it was a wet and stormy 26 degrees. Then from there, as we head into the northeast, it was muggy and overcast throughout. Temperatures mainly in the mid to high 20s. The rainfall most intense in the far northeast, up to 24 millimetres falling in most areas there. But the Hume Reservoir just south of Albury-Wodonga picked up 34 millimetres. Not as much rain fell just north of the border, only 0.2 of a millimetre was recorded in Deniliquin. Elsewhere, you can see just how widespread the rain was, heaviest in the southwest, but also, as I just mentioned, along the New South Wales border in the northeast. You can also see that it was another warm night throughout, but daytime maximums were much cooler than we've come to expect. although it was still very humid. The rain will contract to the east tomorrow, with conditions easing for most of us. Patchy morning showers are expected through the south, with falls through the day in Gippsland. Then we'll be back to mostly dry conditions by Thursday. Looking around the country for tomorrow, and the wet and wild weather will continue right down the east coast. But if you're in Melbourne tomorrow, expect a clearing shower or two with a much cooler top of 22. Around the state, and there'll be some relief from the warm nights in most areas, while daytime temperatures for the most part are expected to hover in the 20s. In the northeast of the state, there's a very high chance of rain tomorrow. Also the risk of a thunderstorm with possible heavy falls in the afternoon. Looking ahead, in Wangaratta, and up to 4 millimetres of rain is expected tomorrow. In Shepparton, there'll be a shower or two with up to 2 millimetres in rainfall tomorrow. It will be the wettest though in Albury-Wodonga, with up to 8 millimetres in falls expected. The good news is it should fine up in most areas right through the northeast by Thursday. But Joe, we've definitely seen the end of those summer-like conditions for now. It's back to you.
That's a shame. Thanks, Sonia. And that's 9 local news for this Tuesday. I'm Jo Hall. Thanks for joining us. Good night.